Tonight on Joy News Prime, government requests another review of work done so far on the Saglemi housing project, where over 1,000 units have been abandoned for more than 5 years now.
As recent as 18th March 2021, I have personally visited the project site and have acknowledged the urgent need to complete the project, notwithstanding the complexities of the project.
This was after the 2020 flag bearer of the APC, Hassan Ayariga, posted a video he filmed at the project site, criticizing government for failing to complete the housing units.
The whole town. Look, the whole town. Who will waste his own money to do this? I am calling the president to make good use of this place for the people of Ghana. Or else, very soon, I will invite Ghanaians to come and start living here for free.
Government promises completion of school block at Bremang Jamra, where 6 kindergarten pupils died after their school structure collapsed on them. The latest pledge is coming more than 4 years after work started.
By the end of this year, this project, not that the Jamra one alone, there are other 2 projects elsewhere.
Right.
That are at the same stage.
Ghana Highway Authority engineers begin work on crater developed on Accra-Ho Highway at Chito in the Volta region, where a truck crashed and blocked a section of the road.
We are away coming. We just saw a small potholes on the road. We just reached there and our front tire just entered the bridge, and the bridge just...
Energy Minister reiterates government's resolve to address electricity supply challenges as he inspects work on bulk supply point at Kaswa.
Our Ghanaians working hard day in and night to ensure that the power systems that have not been upgraded for a very long time get the needed investment to ensure a more reliable power system in the country.
In Business Forum, Finance Minister said Tekwe calls for a debt sustainability program to restructure the country's debt.
If we do not have a reasonable homegrown, then it means that we are stuck, in a sense, with what it with the situation.
And Tema West Municipal Assembly demolishes structures erected on waterways at Lashibi, it says, is the first of many exercises.
To advise everybody who has built on the waterway to make sure he does it himself, because we are going to go to the Ramsar site. People who just site containers anyhow, people who just put up their buildings without permits are going to suffer.
My name is Israel. Joy News Prime is coming to you live from our Fanafa studios at Kokomlimli here in Accra on your digital terrestrial TV, because we are free to air, and also on DSTV channel 421 and GoTV channel 144. This is a home of independent, fearless, credible and impactful journalism. Do stay tuned in. There are over 1,000 housing units at the Saglemi housing project, which were abandoned for more than 5 years now, will continue to lie fallow a while longer. Housing Minister Francis Asenso-Boakye explains government has requested another review of the amount of work done so far and what needs to be done to complete the project. Former Minister Samuel Atta Achiam revealed on PM Express on Joy News in October last year that a report by the Ghana Institute of Surveyors pointed to embezzlement of $114 million of funds meant for the project, adding that the Police Criminal Investigations Department had been asked to investigate the matter. 2020 flag bearer of the APC, Hassan Ayariga, in a recent video had criticized the failure by government to complete the project. In a subsequent interview with Kwesi Parker-Wilson, Mr. Ayariga vowed he will give out the units to needy Ghanaians if nothing is done about the project.
I don't want to hear the circumstance surrounding it. What I want to know is that when you are government, you have a sector minister responsible for works and housing, and you cannot abandon huge properties, thousands of homes in this manner, and then you go on commissioning and cutting sword for more houses to be built. it doesn't make economic sense, it doesn't make political sense, and it doesn't make sense at all. So for me, I have appealed to government and I've given them an ultimatum of 30 days to make good use of that property. Because we have military who do not have homes, we have the police who are struggling to get accommodation, we have the custom officers struggling to get accommodation, public workers, including the ordinary citizens. These are affordable homes. Why? What is the reason behind leaving such huge properties unattended and abandoned?
So if within the 30 days ultimatum elapse, what then is Ayaga going to do?
I've been getting calls from seat of government and that they've engaged the minister to immediately start working on the property. I believe that I will take their word and I believe that they will do something in this regard.
But what if nothing is done about it? It's government you're talking about. Give me some assurance.
30 days is just, we're left with about 25 days.
Right.
If nothing has happened, I will clean up the place. I will personally clean up the place, clear the place. Invite Ghanaians who do not have homes to come and register. And I will assign the homes to the police, the military, the Ghanaian citizens, those who are in need of homes.
The Housing Minister, Mr. Sensubache, however, says government has requested another validation as the previous work done by the Ghana Institute of Surveyors needs to be updated.
The ministry tasked the Ghana Institution of Surveyors to conduct a cost and technical audit of the contract executed by the contractors in the context of the variety of agreements and commitments made by the parties to the project. Upon completion of the audit, the Ghana Institution of Surveyors estimated that an approximate amount of $32 million will be needed to complete the project. The Ghana Institution of Surveyors identified several unmet activities that were the responsibility of the contractor, and a press conference was held in this effect. Based on the foregoing, and in view of the absence of the critical primary infrastructure, the ministry sought the advice of the Attorney General, who subsequently recommended for the issue to be referred to the Police Criminal Investigations Department, CID, for criminal investigations into the matter. However, having understood the complexity of the issues surrounding this project, upon assumption of office as the new sector minister for Works and Housing, I directed the Architectural and Engineering Services Department, AESL, a consultancy agency under my ministry, to validate the report of the Ghana Institution of Surveyors and advise accordingly. As recent as 18th March 2021, I have personally visited the project site and have acknowledged the urgent need to complete the project, notwithstanding the complexities of the project.
He criticized Mr. Yariga for publishing the video criticizing government, saying he did not do it for the love of the country.
The ministry believes that if the aim of the video was altruistic, as the voice-over narrator attempts to communicate, the thrust of the message would have gone beyond the appeal to populism from what is clearly a superficial dab at the challenges confronting the Saglemi project. For the record, the government of His Excellency, the President, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, upon assumption of office in January 2017, has recognized the urgent need for the rapid resolution of these challenges, thorny as they may be, in order for these properties that have been developed at great cost to the state to be completed and made available to the citizenry.
Joining us is Kwesi Parker-Wilson. He's been to visit the project site and report.
Cow dung littered on the dirty tarred roads is the first thing you see upon entering the abandoned site project, which sits on a 300-acre land. It's fast becoming a grazing field for cattle who feed on the wheat growing within the median of the buildings and its surroundings. Street lights, yet to be connected to the national grid, have been mounted in front of the buildings, and the drainage system is visible in between the tarred rows. The housing project come in two categories: a 2-story building with 9 apartments each and another 2-bedroom self-contained apartment. The cream and ash painting on the buildings were fading, perhaps due to being exposed to the vagaries of the weather. Now let's quickly take a scan and go through some of the houses or the rooms to understand what you have there. I'm talking about the apartment. So first of all, of course, you see the 2-story building as I mentioned. Now, if you look at my right, for example, this is where it was expected that it would have the meters. And so each room or each apartment would be connected to a meter, which is going to give them electricity as well. Now, to my immediate left is the one of the apartment. And so I walk in, the doors are firmly fixed doors. Of course, you could see that there is a security door because you could see from the inside who is knocking at your door. You also have your light knob as well. Now, if you look here, these are it's a tiled floor actually, I should say. It's a tiled floor, fully tiled floor. We have all the connections with regards to electricity. And of course, you could see some of them having the bulbs as well here. And so this presumably is expected to be the hall of this particular apartment. And I get a sense that it's a 2-bedroom apartment. And so if you move away from the hall, to my immediate right is another bedroom. It appears to be that it has also been completed as well, but the only difference is that the place has been abandoned. But of course, you can see some weeds here and there. And because it's been raining and they haven't access to the room, the floor is a bit kind of muddy, untidy. That is the situation here at the Saglemi Housing Project. Now, let me take you to the washroom as well. Now, if you come to the washroom, this is expected to be the toilet room where, of course, you want to discharge your human waste. Here, you have a sink here that is equally furnished. They have the lamp holder for the bulbs as well. The doors fully, installed here at the washroom, I should say. Now, shortly when you move from there, you come to the bathroom. That is where you have to take your bath after a long day activity, or perhaps this is where you have to be. And so look at the state. Very untidy. The place is in a mess, I should say. You have a shower here, of course. So this is supposed to be the bathroom where you take your bath in the morning if you wake up, and of course when you return from work. And this is another door, but unfortunately I can't have access to this door. It's locked. I don't know why it is locked. It appears to be the only door I've seen that is locked. All the doors have been opened. So this is the current state of the Saglemi Housing Project. And of course, you might be wondering, where is the kitchen? Here is the kitchen. This is the state of the kitchen for you. They have their sink. And of course, this is the state for you. Very, very untidy. And and of course, the burglars are here. So this is the current state of the kitchen. And of course, this, I'm sure, is expected to be the storeroom where you keep some of your utensils and some of your products and all that. So this is the state. This is the current state of the Saglemi Housing Project. A 2-bedroom apartment for each. And as I mentioned, is a 3-story building. Each building has 9 apartments in all. Right, so I want to take you upstairs so that you check what is there as well. But I'm sure the situation will not be different from what you've already seen. But the point is that even look at the staircase as well. It's unkempt. There are no cleaners around to sanitize the place or properly to keep the place in check. So
right, so that's the update from the Saglemi Housing Project. Elsewhere, more than 4 years ago, on January 31, 2017, a classroom block collapsed at Bremang Jamra in the Central Region and killed 6 kindergarten children. Then Education Minister Matthew Opoku-Prempeh said contractors would be immediately sent to the site to get work done on a new structure. That structure is yet to be completed, and the District Chief Executive of Esukuma Odebimbrakwa has been explaining why. We will share with you his explanations in a bit. But today, on Total Recall, more than 4 years after the tragedy, Joy News' Richard Kodjonyako visited the community and returned with a story of unfulfilled promises.
It was in the month of February, and that day was supposed to be a beautiful Tuesday morning here at Bremang Jamra, But sadly, the day turned into mourning. About 70 pupils aged 4, 5, and 6 were about to settle for studies when the building collapsed on them. 6 of them died instantly. It got the entire country talking. The education minister visited the scene of the accident in a swift manner. Government made the community a promise, pulled down a school block that also posed a grave danger to the lives of the school pupils here. It's been more than 4 years and that block hasn't been completed. Nana Kwesienin, the third, is the Jasin of Brahman Jamra.
When the building collapsed, the Minister of Education, through the Minister of Education, came here. They gave us a promise that they were going to reconstruct the building. Indeed, the construction started. And on my left, you can see that a project is ongoing. It's been in this state for the past 6 years or so. And the problem is that as it's being exposed, the building is exposed to the vagaries of the weather. So the sun is hitting it, the rains are falling on it. So it's weakening the structure. And if care is not taken, something untoward may happen.
Luckily, that particular KG block that collapsed on the school pupils was rebuilt by an NGO within months. But it seems government promise might take a decade or two to be fulfilled.
I'm here in one of the classrooms here at Brahman Jamra Methodist School. See, the students are crammed in this small classroom building. This is as a result of government's inability to complete the project it started. So this is a typical classroom here, and this island is the Form 3 classroom. The room is very, very, very hot. I'm sweating, and you can look at the sweaty face of these young ones. This chair, for instance, is being shared by 3 students.
My name is Erica Fezi. When our teachers are teaching, we find it difficult to understand because we are uncomfortable. We are sitting in 3-3, so when we are being constructed, we are not able to construct it well. We want the government to continue our buildings for us so that we can be spaded.
We are feeling bad. Then we can't even write. 3 people are sharing desks and it's bad for us. We want to change. We plead the government to come and complete the building for us so that we can go and learn.
It's not only the Methodist school block here that has issues, but also the district assembly school blocks. The school blocks that are housing these school pupils are death traps on their own. There are cracks and crevices all over. The floors of these school buildings are piped, and the entire blocks have gone through patching to save them from collapsing. The school pupils here have to close whenever it threatens to rain. An opinion leader in the community, Nana Kojo Enchibu Esiakon, appeals for support. He says they cannot wait for another disaster to happen.
But the unfortunate incident happened some time ago, and it was a big rainstorm which ripped off the roofing of the building, part of it. That has caused this building to be in this state. In fact, every effort has been made through the district assembly, and many letters have been written to the government to come at least to do something about the building. In fact, all has proved futile. Now, this is the state of the building. But there was a KG somewhere around here, and the KG was so dangerous. In fact, it could have caused accident, as it happened some time ago. So the teachers decided to keep the children in this computer office.
Well, the DC for Isikmo Odobin Brakwa, Isaac Odum, when contacted, indicated it was due to lack of funds, and whenever there were funds available, the building would be tackled. I am leaving the community now, hoping something urgent would be done about these dilapidated structures that are serving as places for academic activities. They are obviously disasters waiting to happen. Richard Kwejenyako, Joy News, Brahman Jamra.
Well, the latest pledge by government is to complete the stalled school block by December this year. District Chief Executive of Esikumoda Bimbrakwa Ezekodum explains the construction stalled due to lack of funds.
As I rightly said, you see, the captured project, the uncompleted one, the plan is that we have to make sure we complete all of them before new ones start. So definitely, we will complete them within this year, before new ones start.
So by December this year, they should be complete. Just to have you on record, Mr. Odum, just to have you on record, please answer the question. So by December this year, those projects would be complete.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. Right. That by the end of this year, this project, not that Jamra one alone, there are other two projects elsewhere.
Right.
That are at the same stage, and they are continuous projects. And we need to complete them before new ones start.
Engineers working on the bulk supply point at Kaswa in the central region say they are on track to deliver the projects by the end of August. It is one of the projects government is counting on to improve the supply challenges being experienced around the country. When completed, the facility will provide enough electricity to Kaswa and adjoining communities. Energy Minister Matthew Opoku-Prempeh was briefed during a tour of the facility Tuesday. Mamisi Thompson as well.
Residents of Kaswa have had to endure intermittent power supply for some time due to the inability of the supply systems coping with increasing population and demand. To address this challenge, Gridco began the construction of a bulk supply point in the Wutu-Senya East municipality. Today, Energy Minister Dr. Matthew Opoku-Prempeh was there to inspect the progress of work. Gridco CEO Jonathan Amwakumba gave updates.
The population is increasing rapidly, causing a spike in demand for power. So we are building the station to relieve pressure on Malam and Winneba. It will also benefit residents of Nyenyano, Bojuase, Adeso. It will solve largely the unstable power supply.
The Millennium Development Authority is funding this project. Its CEO, Martin Eson Benjamin, explains how power will be connected when the project is completed.
We almost they've put the main items on, but there are a lot of other civil works and other that they should do. So those together would be completed by the end of August. But it's commissioned, they put power into it, and before they do that, they will have to put lights off, because they are interconnecting. They are cutting into the existing power and bringing it down. So you have to take power off. And that takes a bit of time. It's not a one-day job. So that's why we have a bit of outages. But it's all important, because if you want to make an omelette, you have to break an egg. Certainly something must happen so that we can then, at the end of the day, feel comfortable that we waited for it.
Minister Matthew Opoku-Prempeh, after the brief, urged residents to be patient while the problem gets resolved.
If you live in any part of Accra or Central Region or Western Region or Ashanti Region, there's a reason for your intermittent outages. Which reason, for the last 3 weeks, we've been touring Gridco sites to see what system improvements they are bringing. We were in Gridco 3 weeks ago, we were in Pokwase, and today we are in Kaswa. Such system improvements is going out parts of this country. We will just continue to ask for patience and forbearance for the people working here. Almost all the people working here, you see, over 90% are Ghanaians, working hard day in and night to ensure that the power systems that have not been upgraded for a very long time get the needed investment to ensure a more reliable power system in the country.
In about 3 months, Kaswa and its adjoining communities can at least plan their lives with certainty when the supply station is finally completed. Mamisi Thompson, Joy News.
The Speaker of Parliament, Alban Bagbing, has described as abysmal Parliament's performance as a check on the executive. This he blames on the lack of capacity and inadequate resources for MPs to play their constitutional roles effectively. Inaugurating the 6-member Parliamentary Service Board for the 8th Parliament, the Speaker also revealed MPs and other staff have their vehicles broken into very often on the premises because the House has no control over the enclave and wants the entire enclave handed over to the legislature. My colleague Elton Brobe was there and reports.
The Parliamentary Service Board for the 8th Parliament of Parliament is up and running. The board includes the chairperson, Aban Babin, who is the Speaker of Parliament. The other members on the board includes a former majority leader and former MP for Tema West, Abraham Oseyedu, the General Secretary of the MPP, Johnson Oseyedu Nketia, the first and second deputy speakers of Parliament, the majority and the minority leader, plus the Clerk of Parliament. Their main task is to ensure the smooth administration of Parliament, which includes the fashioning out of an acceptable conditions of service for members of Parliament and the Parliamentary Service Board. This is what the 8th Parliamentary Service Board has to do.
How efficient and effective is our Parliament? One of the areas that our Parliament has not fared well is oversight and private members' legislation. Even though the performance and effectiveness of Ghana's parliament continue to be rated high internationally, its rating in the area of oversight is unsurprisingly low. I say it is unsurprising because Parliament and its committees lack the needed support and assistance to perform their oversight functions. I had calls in March this year to call out the Minister of Finance and the Secretary to the President for attempting to unilaterally place a ceiling on the budget appropriation for Parliament and the judiciary. I must admit, this unfortunate development has been the practice of almost all the governments since the beginning of the Fourth Republic. This development has undoubtedly affected the capacity of Parliament to effectively and efficiently perform its oversight duties. I admit that there has been some modest improvement in the appropriation for Parliament by successive governments, but it is still far inadequate to meet the optimal requirements of the House.
The Speaker also took on people who work here as parliamentary staff. According to him, while some are doing a very good job, some get paid at the end of the month but does nothing. And for him, this must change.
The board must also work collectively and collaboratively to improve upon the work ethic of staff of the service. It is a fact that there are some hard-working employees of the service who are giving up their best for the service and Parliament. But it is equally true that there is a significant number whose contribution is nothing to write home about. There are some staff who basically have no schedules and so virtually do nothing, yet are paid by the state at the end of each month. Monitoring and supervision by superiors are poor and must be improved if we are determined to attain the vision of being a model parliament in Africa.
The majority leader, Osechi Mensah, was not happy with the high attrition rate of Parliament. For him, the leadership of both the MPP and the NDC must work out to ensure that very good materials are always kept in the House.
We must admit that the high attrition rate that members of Parliament are subjected to is not comforting and is not enriching our democracy. Mr. Speaker, I believe it's something that we must jointly address, in particular relating to the various political parties. You spend time in identifying the credentials of Hakman Owusu-Agyemang as a chair of the Council of Elders of the MPP. Today we have the General Secretary of a political party, Johnson Oseyedu Nketia. He didn't mention that. But Mr. Speaker, I think it's important that we engage the political parties in this discourse.
The Minority Leader, Harry Naiduso, says that they will work and support the Parliamentary Service Board to ensure the delivery of an effective parliament to the people of this country.
And cooperation to work with you assiduously to make this parliament more responsive, more accountable, and more transparent in serving the needs of the Ghanaian people. As I listen to you, I observe that you are not satisfied with the oversight role of Parliament. We accept that as our first challenge, that we work together to improve oversight for greater accountability, particularly in the exercise of executive authority in Ghana. And as you yourself rightly noted, we will build upon the gains made by Professor Mike Okoye in the promotion of the private members bill.
You're watching Joy Newsroom. We're taking a break, but still ahead in the bulletin. Ghana Highway Authority engineers begin work on crater developed on Accra-Ho Highway at Chito in the Volta region, where a truck crashed and blocked a section of the road.
We are away coming. We just saw a small potholes on the road. We just reached there, and our front tire just entered the bridge, and the bridge just...
In business, former Finance Minister Tekwe calls for a debt sustainability program to restructure the country's debts.
If we do not have a reasonable homegrown, then it means that we are stuck in a sense with what is with the situation.
Do stay tuned in. We'll be back in a bit.
Yeah, welcome to Business. I'm Charles Aite. The former Finance Minister said Tekwe is calling for debt sustainability programs, whether homegrown or external, to restructure Ghana's debt stock. The country's debt has hit unsustainable levels as almost 50% of tax revenue is used to settle interest payments each and every year. There is more in this report.
Speaking at the maiden PFM Tax Dialogue series, which centered on the fiscal economy, Mr. Tekwe said such program to streamline the country's debt is necessary to avoid default. According to him, the country cannot continue to borrow to repay existing debt as well as finance its recurrent expenditure.
As we couldn't succeed with the PSI, you may be forced into a fund program. And if we do not have a reasonable homegrown, then it means that we are stuck in a sense with what is with the situation, and we may not be out. So now, is revenue a solution? Again, we know the past. We said 17.8 and 13.4 for the last 8 years. That was the best we could achieve in 2015. That is total revenue against total tax revenue. Are we anywhere near? Towards the end, 2022, 23, and 24, total revenue, if you express as a percentage of the GDP, is 16.7, 16.8, 16.9, not up to the 17.8, nearly 18%.
The former finance minister also proposed a comprehensive revenue modernization if the country is to mobilize enough revenue to finance its project as well as pay salaries and interest payments. Presently, the nation's tax revenue to gross domestic product is about 13%, a little below the sub-Saharan Africa average of 15%. Mr. Tekwe said tax reforms are critical in generating more revenue instead of the policy of upward tax adjustment.
We can't rely much on grant as a middle income country. We can't rely much on debt forgiveness, so we have to intensify our own domestic collection, and move the numbers up.
The former finance minister presentation captured fiscal projections between 2013 and 2024. From the numbers, the nation recorded the highest fiscal deficit of 13.6% of GDP in 2020, the highest in the history of the country.
Now, tax expert Dr. Ali Nachia has advised the government to post the implementation of the 5% levy on profit before tax on banks to the second quarter of this year. According to him, the financial sector cleanup levy will have severe implications on the sector, hence his appeal. Speaking at a program organized by the Ghana Integrity Initiative on the implications of the tax policies per the budget on businesses in COVID-19, Dr. Nachia appealed to the government to consider his appeal of moving the implementation forward.
According to the government, the 5% levy on profit before tax will be reviewed in 2024. However, in his presentation on implications of the tax policies per the 2021 budget on businesses in the face of the COVID-19 pandemic, Dr. Nachia said government must be considerate on the back of effect of COVID-19 pandemic.
Because we have only 8 months remaining, tax policy advisor, in 2021. We have 8 months. And we are even rolling out these taxes. Next week is May, so we've lost almost a quarter. And that is where I have a challenge with the financial sector recovery levy. Because if you say you are starting at the end of the second quarter, which is end of June, then the third will be end of September, and the fourth is end of December. I wonder if my profit before tax is 100,000, right? And then I find the 5%. So I have 5,000. I am to pay in quarterly installments, but you are saying I will start in the third quarter. Are you dividing that amount over the 3 quarters, or my first quarter is free? It has implications because of COVID. It will be good you relieve me the first quarter and take the 3 quarters. But even that one has not yet been set out. So it's a good point we read now.
Assistant Commissioner and Head of Audit at the Ghana Revenue Authority, Dr. Martin Yabonrija, revealed that the nation is expected to rake in about 2.9 billion Ghana cedis in total revenue by the end of 2021.
We are expecting a net revenue of about 2.9 billion as a result of the new tax initiatives that were announced in the 2021 budget. We have the COVID recovery levy, which I said we are expecting about 1.4 billion, and the ESLA levy we are expecting about 666 million. Then the sanitation levy about 311 million. But at the same time, government is going to give out about 204 million as a result of the waiver of the penalty and interest. And in respect of the tax rebate for those in the hotel industry, entertainment, creative art, about 56 million is also going away. And in terms of the waiver of taxes for VAT, that's those who are into commercial transport, and then those who are in tax stamp, that is also expected to cost the government about 16.8 billion. But in sum, we are expecting a net revenue of about 2.9 billion as a result of the new tax initiatives that were announced in the 2021 budget.
And now bid for business for this segment to stay.
On myjoyonline.com, here are some of the key stories on the website. You earn salary for doing nothing, Speaker attacks section of Parliamentary Service staff. Let's put in quick measures at KIA. Delay likely to cause third COVID-19 wave. That's a virologist. Ashanti Region Ghana Health Service raises alert on missing body parts of corpses at mortuaries, and GS releases reopening and vaccination dates for SHS. More news on the Joy News channel. Right after, we're bringing you Showbiz with Becky Bex. All right, time for Showbiz, and Becky Bex is here. Hello, Becky.
Hello to you, Izzy. How you doing?
I'm well. How about you?
I'm fantastic.
Great, great.
So remember I told you about a tribute concert to be held in memory or in honor of the late President J.J. Rawlings. So we have a date. It's actually just this Friday, April 30th, and Samini will be performing, Manziba will be performing, and Ochiame Kwame and others. So Pastor Simon is acting president of Musica, and he's been talking about what to expect.
He is a true statesman, and I think musicians and music had a very special relationship with him when he was alive. You know? So we think he's a true statesman, a lover of music. So this Friday we want to do a special concert for him It's going to be virtual. So we would love people to watch it.
Tune in.
And then also see that he's gone, but he's not forgotten.
I mean, clearly, if you're looking at the people who are the artists who are lined up, it's going to be a great one.
Yes, and this will be done virtually, so you would have to tune in and watch on all the social media platforms. So you told me this morning that Abranti Amachide, they called you. Our Abranti Amachide, they called you.
Yeah, I mean, I was supposed to call him. I called him back, but he hasn't answered yet.
Oh, he's a busy man, he told me.
So,
Easy, Amachide, Abranti Amachide, hasn't spoken for a very long time. It's been like over...
Well, until you interviewed him.
You know, and so this interview is very special to us.
It is.
Thank you for accepting that. So he is a chief in at Agogo, right? And he's called Ochiradom, Nana Ochiradom, Nana Berima Ochiradom the First. So he's been explaining exactly what his position as Nana Ochiradom means to the Agogo community.
Okay. My true name is Oberima Ochiredom the First.
Oberima Ochiredom
the First.
The First.
Yeah. You see, if somebody says Oberima Ochiredom, it's not that maybe Kokuna Ochiredom and Bibisa, but I have used the music to introduce Asante Achim Agogo to Ghana and abroad. You see, Ochiredom is that means Ochiredom backroom. So it's the same thing because of what you've heard that you are coming here.
It's true.
Yeah, so the name Ochiredom means, I mean, not going for war or whatever, but using your career to influence the people to know your roots or whatever.
I'm looking at Amachide in
oh, wow. You know.
That's way back.
Yes.
All right. Thank you very much, Becky Bex, for bringing us Showbiz. But yes, I'll call him.
Bozigi.
Hey.
That's just by the way.
Okay, thank you very much, Becky, for bringing us Showbiz. We have more stories coming your way. Do stay tuned in. The Tema West Municipal Assembly Tuesday demolished some structures erected on waterways around the Lashibi drain. This follows a directive from the Greater Accra Regional Minister Henry Quartey for the buildings to be pulled down. The siting of the buildings, including that of the assemblyman for the area, said to cause serious flooding when it rains. According to MCE for Tema West, Ajua Amwako, who supervised the demolition, several attempts to get the developers to stop building have been unsuccessful. She is warning Tuesday's exercise is only the first of a series to be conducted by Assembly ahead of the rainy season. Manuel Kranti was there for us and our reports.
The demolition exercise started from a washing bay which was under construction without a permit. The red writings of stop work were still visible on the walls, which were now succumbing to the force from the bulldozer. Tuesday morning's exercise had been necessitated by unsuccessful attempts to get the developers to stop building in the waterway. Ajua Amwako is Municipal Chief Executive of the Tema West Municipal Assembly.
When you look at the big bridge over there, have you seen it? Yeah, it's being constructed. And so it is close to this particular building. And that's the more reason why it was so alarming. So the minister was just passing by and saw, how can somebody build close to a bridge that is being constructed? And then at the same time, pipelines are also here. This is a planned area. So you cannot just site container buildings and all other things anyhow. And the work is ongoing. We've just started. This is just the beginning. So we are trying as much as possible to advise everybody who has built on the waterway to make sure he does it himself, because we are going to go to the Ramsar site. People who just site containers anyhow, people who just put up their buildings without permits are going to suffer. We are going to make sure we take them to court and make sure they destroy it themselves, because it becomes a cost when assembly does all these things.
A few minutes into the exercise, there was a protest. A woman who only identified herself as a wife of the owner of the structure said she suspected foul play.
Regional Minister Baha, it will Baha quite number to stop work. Then stop work, you know. If you go to this lane, you try down your wine, you know, say why water lane. You try when you now stop work. And then you have a boo, me boy, you many problem. But my problem is say, assembly man on Usha Kureimono, or wow, yes, assembly man, and if you any, on the air bed in our demo, and the actual stop work, or honey actually be waha, and you have a boo, me husband, the end of the assembly man, dear. Apart from that, who quite insider, stop working, no baby, me punch Juma Muya, or my cost bubuno.
The assembly member for the Lashibi electoral area denied the allegation.
I think it is the inside. There is another structure which they marked on it, stop work produce permit. But on my structure, there is no evidence of stop work or produce, how do you call it? I don't think it should be affected because I contacted the technical men.
Do you have permits?
I have permit. I've started the process. I have a receipt of what I've started.
Before having permit?
No, I've not finished. I've not finished it yet.
But looking at the level at which it is now, as an assemblyman, you're supposed to have permits.
Well, as the West Chairman of the Assembly, I know permit takes process. It takes process before it is finally approved. You understand?
Eventually, the building in contention will also be pulled down. Some residents say this will help reduce flooding in the area.
The situation is very bad when it rains. And we are quite happy with the demolition, even though some people are crying foul. For some time now, it seems it's gone down. But initially, when it rained, even though these gutters seem to be very big, but the water usually overflow to the bridge, and those at the other side cannot even cross. But when they started the overhead thing, they tried to dredge the gutter, so it minimized. But for some time now, because of these buildings and those things, as you can see, they are filling part of the gutter with rubbish.
Very, very bad. But if people go too further, you see people are closer to the gutter too.
Meanwhile, the MCE says the assembly is working to increase its efficiency.
Yeah, I will not say that assembly is not ineffective. We've been giving permits to people, but people have refused to come to the assembly, the reason best known to themselves. Yeah, so the assembly is making all effort to do permits for them. I will not say the assembly is not efficient, but we normally also have to take entry permits from TDC before buildings are put up. But sometimes it delays from TDC. That's how come I could see that people are also doing their own thing, because they are thinking that before you get that entry permit from TDC, it will take a very long time, and it's also expensive. And so, why don't I go ahead and do whatever I can do?
As the rains beckon, preparations are underway to minimize the impact of possible flooding which may occur with the rains. Reporting for Joy News, my name is Manuel Kranting from Lashibi in Accra.
Work has begun to seal a crater which developed in the middle of the Accra-Ho Highway near Chito in the Volta region, which resulted in at least one accident. It follows a Joy News report warning of the danger on the road due to the caving in of a section of the highway in the whole West District of the Volta region. We'll be speaking with Assemblyman for the area who has been monitoring repair works. But first, Joy News' Fred Kwame Asari reported on the danger posed to motorists by the crater.
At the dawn of Sunday, 3 occupants of this Volvo cargo with registration number GT 56817 almost lost their life in an accident on the whole Accra Highway. The cargo, which was transporting clothing textiles from Togo to Accra, veered off the road when it fell into a pothole between the Kpomvi barrier and Chito. Evans Gbechi is the driver's mate of the cargo truck.
Thing happened is we were our way coming. We just saw a small potholes on the road. We just read there, and our front tire just entered the bridge, and the bridge just collapsed. So the force that the car is using, it just used to direct us to the bush inside. So maybe make us say things spoiled for the car and body, only the car under, the tire, the diesel tank, the muffler, and the axle.
The unfortunate incident resulted in the carving in of the section of the road. According to sources, this same section was damaged 2 years ago. However, no proper repair work was done. Instead, it was filled with gravel. Careful study at the bridge reveals that the iron rods used have rusted, hence could not hold the weight of the concrete bridge, leading to the damage. Drivers plying the route have appealed to the Ghana Highway Authority to repair the road to prevent the unfortunate from happening. We realized there was a pothole here which was filled with gravel. We heard one of our vehicles was involved in an accident here. We are pleading with the highway authorities to repair the road because it looks dangerous and may cause serious accidents. We are compelled to divert through Peki and join the highway at Asikuma due to the state of the road. It is dangerous driving on the stretch at night and for drivers plying the route for the first time.
Friday, Saturday, Sunday,
the assembly member for Chito Jigbe electoral area, Samuel Into, explained he has informed the relevant authorities about the unfortunate incident.
When the incident was reported, I informed the DNI and I spoke to the district chief executive, who is Rishi. The incident happened, even though in Chito, Baton area, I informed the chief executive and he told me he reported the issue to the authorities and will by all means work on it.
While the authorities take the necessary actions to repair the road, motorists using the Accra-Ho Highway must be careful when approaching Chito. Fred Kwame Asari, Joy News, Chito.
Well, joining us on phone now is Samuel Into, the assemblyman of Chito in the whole West District. Thank you very much, Mr. Into. So you indicate that work has begun on that highway, or that section of the highway that caved in. Can you please tell us exactly what work is being done right now? Okay,
actually, the Ghana Highway Authority pickup with registration number DV 171W is parked there with the backhoe, stone, and sand. I spoke to a few guys over there. They told me they have been hired by Highway Authority to fix the caving bridge. So that's what's happening now.
All right, so we actually have some photos of work being done at the place. Do you have an idea how long it's going to take for this to be repaired?
Actually, I've not been able to talk with the main contractor, and the guys working on the ground, they are unable to tell me the deadline. But I told them tomorrow morning I'll be there to see the foreman and the contractor for more facts.
All right, thank you very much, Samuel Into. He's an assemblyman for Chito in the Volta region. But as you saw in the photos, the work is being done on the highway, or the section of the highway that caved in, and so we're advising motorists to still approach the area with caution. I want to believe that there will be warning signals on the road as you approach the area. But even if those warning signals are not there, please be mindful as you approach the area. Now, the Fulani community in the Oti region is calling on the office of the Second Lady, the Chief Justice, and the Inspector General of Police to intervene in ensuring justice for a young herdsman who was killed. The herdsman was killed at Guamang following a clash with Atakrum residents Sunday morning in an apparent reprisal attack on a farmer. General Secretary to the Fulani chiefs in the area, Jallo Abdul Rahman, says though the construction of farmlands and food crops blamed on the herdsmen was unfortunate, it does not warrant the killing of a human being. He wants the matter thoroughly investigated and the perpetrators on both sides brought to book. Correspondent Peter Senu has more.
The call for justice from the herdsmen and the Fulani community in the Oti region follows the death of one of the herdsmen at the outskirts of Guaman community in the Jasikan district. The death follows earlier clash Sunday morning between residents at Atakrum and some herdsmen after an alleged attack on a farmer by some herdsmen. Jallo Abdul Rahman is the General Secretary to the Fulani chiefs.
We want the police service to look into the case and bring justice. Because yesterday around 9 o'clock AM, and then we were called from the house that some people came to attack our people in the bush. So when we went there to ask, they told us some men came to them in the Accra, telling them some animals came to destroy their crops. So our fathers, this is my brother, and the animals belongs to him. So he agreed to settle with them. So on their way going to the farm, and then they saw a crowd of people attacking them, people with guns and so on, beating them up. You can just see how he swollen, others with wounds. And they even shot one of us dead. So there, some people also came to our rescue, and then they bring us to police station. So all that we are demanding from the government is it should see into this case and bring justice.
The Guaman community is dissociating itself and denying any involvement in the death of the herdsman in their environment. They allege that the death is very likely the result of the earlier clash Sunday at Atakrum because people have reportedly heard sporadic gunshots. Odikro Bequin speaks.
We know that this death did not occur or as a result of anything that was done in this community. It didn't happen because the cattle actually are not resident here. They are resident in the neighborhood. I don't know. The early dawn, some people had sporadic gun shooting towards the Insuta side. So we are anticipating that that has caused that whole problem.
It is on this premise that the Fulani community is calling on the office of the Second Lady, the Chief Justice and the IGP to demand justice for their slain colleague. Jallo admits the destruction caused to farmland and crops was unfortunate, but does not merit the killing of one of them.
And it is very unfortunate because each and everyone eats from what he suffered for. That is right, we know it is a fact. But it is not that to that extent. And I can say that is not a permanent place for the animals. We just went there to seek, because of the drought season, we just went to the chiefs to seek place for just 1 month. So when the 1 month was up, one of our animal broke. So we went to the chiefs to beg them to give us extra 2 weeks. And next Friday, this coming Friday, will be the 2 weeks. But we went there with our boys to even migrate the animals back because now it has rained, so there is enough grass at our place to go back to our place when we were attacked.
They also argue that their contribution to the economy of Ghana cannot be underestimated, hence the need for justice on both sides for peace to prevail. They also say the chiefs are fully aware of their presence on their land and so do not understand the recent attacks. Peter Senu for Joy News.
Now, parents of a 3-month-old baby born without arms in the northern region say they are under pressure from family and community members to kill the child because she is physically challenged. Children born with deformities in the community where they reside, Kabongole, are considered bad luck and evil spirits. The parents of the baby, named Mauko, loosely translated as Only God, are determined not to conform to the age-old belief and practice. Maxwell Agbagba traveled there and asked the rest of the story.
I am on a motorbike heading to Kabonbule, a community about 3.5 hours drive from Tamale. Persons who work in the child protection space have alerted me to an age-old belief where physically challenged babies are seen as evil spirits. Here, I meet residents who tell me some children who are victims of the practice leave the hospital very healthy but die later under very mysterious circumstances. The Northern Region Police has no record of these alleged killings, but residents say it is usually done on the blind side of law enforcement officers and people who will possibly raise an alarm. I'm now at the residence of the 3-month-old baby born without arms in Carbon-Wule. She cries as her mother tries to lull her to sleep. Father of the baby, Ananias Kweku Viagbedo, says he's under pressure to do away with his baby because she's physically challenged.
My friends and loved ones do not want to get closer to me now. I have also decided not to allow outsiders get access to the baby, so they will not attribute any misfortune in the community to my child. I have had misunderstandings and quarrels with my in-laws. My in-law says my child will die if she enters her house, because that's the belief that such children should not enter her house. That is the belief and practice here. When my child was born, the midwives advised me not to harm him. They told me children are delivered at the hospital, but anytime they check up on them later, they are told they are dead. They killed them, many of them. We hear it all the time.
He says he will not bow to the custom and beliefs of his community. Mother of the baby, Mary Nyong, says there is pressure on her to get rid of baby Mauko.
They want to kill my child because they say she's not human. I know she's human and she'll be great in future.
I've now met Solomon Atta. He's secretary to the chief of Carbon-Wule. He says it is the belief of the community that physically challenged children are evil spirits. He cites an instance where a physically challenged 1-week-old baby was killed.
Children who are born disabled, at times we do away with them because we say they're not fit into the society. Even in school self, I don't think we allow them to go to school. We believe that they have evil spirits, or maybe it is sort of witchcraft. The witches are hunting them. Or maybe the person is born a witch. So such a person, we don't want him in the society. I think some years, one happened. A small child was born about a week. The child started eating. So the parents have to do away with the child.
Wait, because the child started
eating food.
1 week.
1 week.
It's not good?
It's not good. It's not good. It's not good.
Why?
It is not practice. It is inhuman. It's a child. When we then the child started eating there, I don't think it is normal. Fufu, they left over. The mother saw the child eating. They have to do away with the child.
So the child was killed?
The child was killed.
Solomon Atta agreed to take me to the chief priest of Carbon-Wule, an old man whose name loosely translates as death is better than trouble. He confirms the assertion by the secretary to the chief, as he says physically challenged children are not fit to live amongst humans.
It is all part of our belief. They are all from God, but not all of them are from Him. Some of the children do not look like humans. When there are deformities in the leg and other parts of their body, we discard them.
What you say? Yeah.
Okay.
We do not live with them because they do not look like humans. Okay, so the hospital, where's the
Godfred Golden Vovrego is the Mandai district pastor of the Seventh-day Adventist Church. He's one of the people pushing for change in the community.
Honestly speaking, it has been a big problem in the community. The most painful thing is the innocent child and the family, the parents, the way they have been stigmatized in the community. In fact, my brother has gone through a serious, let me say, stigmatization.
As pressure to get rid of 3-month-old Mauko grows, her mother and father say they are optimistic she'll become a shining light for her community and a story will change the age-long belief. They admit they cannot do it alone and will need the assistance of their community.
Meanwhile, gender and child's rights activist Diana Adiko says a change in mindset and awareness creation on bad cultural practices are ways to deal with the age-long practice of killing physically challenged children in some parts of the northern region. She says although prosecution is one of the ways to deal with the problem, it may also create new challenges.
Broadly, is the issue of increased awareness. You would admit that the treatment that is being meted out to this child and family is purely based on the fact that we do not, communities do not understand issues around disability and all of that. And it's a reflection of how we as a people see and treat disability. It's just a manifestation of that. We are at that stage where we need awareness needs to increase on disability, and our conscience needs to be open to the fact that not everybody will be like us. But immediately we see people who do not look like us. We think they are from the spirit world, they are possessed by spirits, or they are witches and etc. And the stigma and the mistreatment follows and all of that. So it's just a reflection of what's happening down there that many a times does not come to the limelight.
Country Director of AfriKids Ghana, David Fualua, says he is willing to collaborate with Joy News to support the 3-month-old baby.
Honestly, I'm not surprised that the practice is still ongoing because we have been saying that the spiritual phenomena is a national issue or almost a sub-regional issue. And even in communities that we have been working, we have been intervening for the past 10 or so years, you sometimes still come across instances when parents and other family members are making efforts to kill children. So I'm definitely not surprised at all. The orthopedic center in Sawam is a partner to AfriKids. We've worked closely. In fact, we've handled cases that are even more severe than this. And we have examples to show of children who were born without limbs, and with support of the orthopedic team, specifically from the Isawang Government Hospital, such children today are living and thriving in their communities. This case can easily be supported with them. And so if there are ways that we could collaborate, I think that we can help escalate this case to the right specialists who will be able to give the necessary support and train the family on how to support this child to grow. And as the child ages, there are times that the team might make visits or will invite them to come, and then they'll have to replace the artificial limbs. So it's not too difficult a thing to deal with in our current jurisdiction. There are institutions, there are individuals who can solve this case.
We're taking a break on Joy News Prime to bring you more business news. To stay tuned in.
In business, Cocoa Board is to take legal action on behalf of cocoa farmers whose farming activity is being impeded by illegal mining activities. This comes on the back of a report about illegal miners destroying water sources used for irrigation, putting cocoa farmers at Wenchi in the Western North region at risk of losing their farms. Farmers there say that the continuous contamination of the Chini River for mining purposes has already had a negative impact on their yields. We'll hear from Cocoa Board shortly, but first though, here's a report by Nana Yaljima.
13-year-old Lauren Sheapia makes her way to the borehole to fetch water for house chores. It is the only source of potable water for the Wenchi community. The two other boreholes here have broken down. Other children wait in tents to fill their containers with water. Fetching water in the afternoon is the only way these kids will be able to escape the morning water queue. She says, we queue for about an hour before we are able to get water to prepare for school. Aside this place, there is no potable water. The River Chene, which has served the community for years, is heavily polluted by illegal miners. It looks brownish, unfit for household chores. She says the river was the only alternative source of water for us. Today, it can't be used for anything. The Western North region has an agrarian economy, with cocoa being the major produce. At Chene, a community before Wenchi, farms and water bodies are being destroyed by illegal miners in search of gold. I stand in the middle of about 10 hectares of land degraded by illegal miners. Before now, this whole place used to be cocoa farms, but today, the whole area has been taken over by illegal miners, destroying all the cocoa trees here. Farmers at Wenchi have their farms intact, but cannot access water for their crops. They want government intervention to protect their source of income.
We used to drink the river in the farm. Sometimes we cooked with it. But today, we can't use it for anything. We can't carry water from the home to water the farms due to the distance. Farming is becoming too difficult.
She says, our farms are being destroyed. Some of us survive on the farms too. If this is not halted, it will be hard to make ends meet.
We voted for the NPP government to deal with these miners. If they are unable to do it, then he must leave.
Some assembly members in the Bibiani Anyuaso Bekwai district say the local assembly has not done enough to halt the destruction. Kwame Asamoah is one of them.
So the people are suffering. Sometimes it got a time they start robbing people over here. But when there was no any Galamsey activities, people can move here from 1 a.m. to the next morning without any attack. So it's affecting our water bodies, our farm. They cannot farm again because their life in danger.
Illegal mining in these cocoa growing areas threatens the country's sustainable cocoa production. The attainment of goals 1 and 6 of the Sustainable Development Goals, bordering on poverty eradication and access to clean water, could be missed. From the Western North region for Joy News, Nane Ojima reporting.
Let's now bring in the head of public affairs at Cocoa Board, Fifi Boafo, who's reacting to this development.
We believe that these are activities that we should be able to, as a collective, stop it from ongoing, because if it continues, its effect is there. However, let me be quick to add that we've engaged the Ministry for Lands and Natural Resources, the Minerals Commission, for them to help us in dealing with this issue, because this is not something Cocoa Board on its own can unilaterally deal with. However, Cocoa Board at the moment has given out information to farmers that in any situation whereby you have these Galamsey operators or illegal miners coming to your farm, it is important to draw our attention immediately for us to take legal action on your behalf. Because what we realized over the period is the fact that most of the farmers on their own lack the capacity to challenge some of these actions in courts, for which reason the people feel emboldened to trample on the rights of these farmers. So going forward, the expectation is that whenever farmers suffer some of these instances, they draw our attention, and then our legal team will represent them or provide them assistance in fighting some of these challenges, because we believe that with that, we'll be able to help in solving the problem.
Away from that, some Ghanaian businesses must pay attention to quality of goods produced and cost of production in order to remain competitive on the global economy. This is an advice from Emmanuel Isumeni, the Director of Operations for the ILO's core program, focusing on the development of Ghana's small-scale sector. According to him, the production of quality goods at affordable rate is critical to ensuring that Ghana benefits from the global market. He spoke to Joy Business after a workshop to train SMEs on international best practices of operations.
The program was aimed at training some selected small-scale businesses on current trends of business operations to boost productivity and remain competitive. According to the International Labour Organization consultant, building world-class businesses involves working together as a strong team to deliver on quality goods for the market. The program, funded by the ILO, is expected to benefit all small-scale enterprises through capacity building. Emmanuel Isumeni believes Ghana can beat the global competition with a strong team building spirit alongside low cost of production.
We are in a global village. We don't have goods which are coming from China, different from those which are being produced in Ghana. What we think that our local enterprises must come to terms with is that we need to build our institutions into teams. Every enterprise must understand that we are not an enterprise of managers as against workers. We are an enterprise of managers and workers working together. And all of us must understand that there are key interests for every consumer. They are interested in the quality of the product. They are interested in the cost of it. They are interested in delivery. They are interested in service. And so as a team, we must address these key issues. If we are to operate in a global market, then we should be quite up to date with quality. And the only way towards getting consistent quality is that we are working together as a team.
On his part, Executive Director of the SCORE Training Solutions, a partner for the ILO program, John Wilson, called on budding businesses to make available adequate resources into quality assurance and capacity building.
Sometimes the work pressure comes such that they are not able to release the staff for the project implementation. And it's such a tough discipline that they have to make time and be able to achieve the sort of goals we've set ourselves over a period. So the commitment is very key. And also provision of certain resources. You see, when you do, they take them through some like the 5 years. They have to put in systems in place to get some equipment and some materials to be able to, improve the setup. And that costs some money. So provision of resources can sometimes be a problem.
Meanwhile, the SME sector in Ghana is described as a critical tool to sustain the Continental Free Trade Agreement.
We now bring you a summary of international business news. that'll be all for business. Sports is up next. This day.
With us, time to bring you the second installment of sports, and the national amateur boxing team, the Black Bombers, have intensified preparations ahead of this year's Olympic Games in Tokyo. Captain Suleiman Tete, Samuel Tichi and Shakol Samir are targeting medals at the multi-sport event.
Residential camping begins after a long wait and months of non-residential training at the Accra Sports Stadium. The arrangement, which was facilitated by the board and management of the Trust Sports Emporium in collaboration with the Ghana Amateur Boxing Federation, is expected to improve the form of the boxers very greatly ahead of the Games. Suleiman Tete is the team's captain and an Olympian. He is targeting a podium finish at this year's Games, and he's dreaming about great things for his career and for the nation as well. He is glad about the new camping arrangements.
It's my second Olympics that I'm going, and this time I'm going to assure you that I'm going to win a medal. I'm going to win a medal if God permits. And for the first thing that I mean is balloting first. After I get my balloting first, I promise that I can win a medal for the Olympics game.
Samuel Techi is another of the 3 boxers who are looking forward to living their dreams and also holding it up for their nation.
I'm happy for qualifying to the Olympic Games because first, I'm not in the national team. I fight individual championship and coach called me into the national team, so I'm very happy to qualify here. First, we train at Accra Sports Stadium, but now we train at Bukom Boxing Arena. I hope God will make our preparation go and we are ready for the Games.
Shakul Samer has a unique story because if he should step into the ring in Tokyo, he would have sealed his family's status as the only one to produce 3 Olympian brothers. He is one of the characters in a recent Joy News documentary, Olympic Boxing Genes, The Story of the Samers. His objective will be to win a medal, one thing his 2 elder brothers Basti and Issa were unable to do at the 2018 Beijing Olympic Games.
And I'm telling all Ghanaians that they should have hope in me. Although my brothers participated at the Beijing 2008 Olympic Games, my brother Basti Same won the first fight, but I couldn't, bring back something. So it's like a big task for me. I mean, I have to make a good name for both my family and Ghana. I mean, it's like a war, and I'm going all out. So Ghanaians to be expecting a medal for me. I'll go there and put up my best and come back. Come back with good.
George Lamte is president of the Ghana Amateur Boxing Federation and is glad that his efforts are yielding some fruits.
Very grateful to the Minister of Youth and Sports. He's also supporting the National Sports Authority, the Ghana Olympics Committee, the president and his entire team. And finally to the Trust Emporium for giving us such opportunity to train. They have all their facilities here in terms of boxing equipment and everything. So far so good. We would like all corporate bodies to liaise with the Ghana Olympics Committee for any sponsorship at all that they want to give it to the team. And we are very, very grateful for the President of Ghana for the overall support that he's giving to the team.
Ofori Asari is a 3-star IBA coach and the highest rated in the country at the moment. Having supervised Ghana's boxing team at many multi-sport events, he has a big task on his hands this term.
Our preparation is not the best, but we are working very hard, and we believe that we will get there. We will be able to hit our target.
The residence of camp, which is situated at the Royal Dede Resort, which overlooks the Atlantic Ocean, is expected to give a lot of impact. It at least provides the peace of mind for these boxers to focus. So it is expected that this camp will be a successful one, which will result in a medal-winning performance for each of these boxers. While the clock ticks as well, some boxers are expected to secure qualification spots to add to the remaining 3. Nathaniel Atto for Joy Sports.
Let's do some football. And the Ghana Football Association has made some appointments to the various national teams. And the key among them is Maxwell Konedu, former coach of the Black Stars B, heading to the Ghana Under-17 team. But first up, let's take a look the management committees for the various national teams, and you've Meteor's management committee. Frederick Achiampo is the chairman. The vice chairman is Samuel Enimado. Osei Tutu Ajiman, George Afrikenyu, Daniel Labi, and Frederick Boateng are members of the Black Meteor's management committees. Also, the Black Stars B technical team and Great Olympics coach Anna Walker has been named as the head coach. His assistant is Prosper Nate Ogum of the West African Football Academy. He will be his assistant. The Black Starlets technical team is made up of Maxwell Kunedu and his assistant Winfred Dormon. Ignatius Oseifosu is also an assistant coach, and George Owu, formerly of Sekendi Azakes, also being the goalkeeper's trainer. Yusuf Andani will be the team officer, and Mensa Agbovo is a welfare officer. Albert Aveji is a physiotherapist. The Mazir is Abdullah Zakari, and Baba Aluta is the equipment officer for the Black Starlets team. Also, the FA Cup committee is made up of Wilson Arthur. He's the chairman of Sky FC, and he's the chairman of the FA Cup committee. Kofi Poku is the vice chairman. The members are George Ofosuhine, Robert Duncan, Oluboy Commodore, Frederick Agbenyon, and Donny Kumaku. These are the members making up the FA Cup committee. The Black Queens Management Committee, Madam Habibata is the chairperson. Kingsley Oseibons is the vice chairman, and the other members are Na Odofole Norte, Nana Fosujiabo, and Ama Brobe Williams. So these are the various members of the committees and the technical teams of the various national teams. We're running into tonight's edition of Sports on Joy News Prime. There is more sports when you log on to myjoyonline.com/sports. My name is Hans Mensando.
And that'll be it for the bulletin. I'm Israelai. Thank you very much for watching. You have a good night.